Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. You rock, OP. Ceramics take a special treatment, and you learned it. That was awesome. Clean revenge. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. You know how it's done. Right then. So about 15 or so years ago, I was working in a little metal working firm, two brothers owned, 30 or so workers, metal casting, further processing up to, including wires and other things. We had about 5 women working in production. Me, my mom, and 3 others. One of them was the unofficial sweetheart of one of our bosses. Karen, changing name for privacy, couldn't do wrong. Whatever went wrong wasn't her fault ever. I had a run-in with her a few times already, and it wasn't the best. But I'm more of the silent type, let others do what they want, I'll do my thing, etc. Us women were mostly there for preparing the product for sending out, washing metal bits, grinding back seams, sorting small things into good and not broken, not fully cast, etc. I've been working there summers in the 90s with my gran as unofficial supervisor, and she showed me the ropes. Later, when I worked there full-time, I knew the ins and outs of things, and some tricks gran worked out along the way. Especially with our washing machines. Imagine them as a big bowl filled with specially formed stones. Add water and cleaning agent, the metal bits, and it would vibrate, and the stones rubbing against the product with soap and water would clean the product from residual oil and other things. One of the machines required a more special touch apart from throw in, start, done. I've been working there long enough and been shown by Gran and Mom how to set up that machine. It polished the metal on top of cleaning it with tiny spherical metal bits. Never cared enough to ask what they were made of. It was enough to know how to use it to make things shine. So one day I get a call. Boss asking if I was washing something at the moment and what I was working on. I told him, nope, done with washing. I was just now drilling the last holes and preparing the product for shipping out. He said he'd send Karen down with something time sensitive, and that was that. Karen comes down an hour later. Crate with time-sensitive products has been there for a while, and it's coated with oil, soot, and all things nasty, ready to be cleaned and polished in that special machine. I ask if she needs help or some pointers, since I know that machine is a bit complicated to set up. She looks at me, dirty and sweaty as I was from actually working. She was nearly pristine from doing whatever she did with the boss. Don't care, keep me out of it, and sniffs. Tells me she knows how to wash them and disappears in the washroom. Well then, if you know. A colleague comes over and asks if she ever used that machine, and I shrug and tell him, not that I know of. She wasn't very popular there, can you tell? I go back to work, time goes by, lunch, more time, then our boss shows up, product needs to be sent out today. Not long after, there's a shout for me to come to the washroom. Turns out Karen doesn't know how to use the machine. The whole thing is oily, black, and nasty. Product looks worse than before. She'd used the wrong cleaning agent, didn't add the polishing powder at the right time, and pretty much effed the whole thing up. Boss asks me why I didn't say something, help her, intervened, anything. Well, she said she knew what to do. Ask colleague, he was there. Door to the washroom's closed, and I have other things to do than stick my nose where it's not wanted. Do I know how to deal with this problem? Sure. Machine and stones need cleaning, product needs cleaning. It's going to take a while. In the end, Karen was allowed to finish my dirty work, and I spent the rest of the day cleaning up her mess. I wasn't allowed to leave the washroom, boss's orders, so I started a washing cycle with the right agent and no product in to clean the machine and stones, sat down and did nothing. Then added the product, more cleaning agent and powder after the oily gunk was gone, and pretty much spent half a day doing close to nothing while Karen had to do my work. I could have helped her, but us unwashed peasants were not good enough for Her Highness. And our second story. The Pickle Burger. During college, I worked a fair amount of crappy jobs, one of them being McDonald's. I'd worked my way up from grill guy to running the back end. This is not a promotion, it's barely a change of physical position, but it's less hot. One of the perks is that I get my very own headset to listen in on all the orders so that I can get a head start on making the items as the person is asking for them. It had already been a long day, and we'd been hounded by customers, odd orders, and yelled at by terrible management. There's always a delicate balance between what we can actually do for a customer order versus what the customer actually wants. Today, I'm squarely against the management. Today we had Haley, who was a particularly crappy manager, and she had something against me for no discernible reason. So today I was not just adding one extra piece of cheese here or one extra squirt of mayo there. No, I was making exactly what the customers wanted, and I gave zero craps if the store paid for it in inventory. My opportunity quickly presented itself when a man came through the drive-thru. He ordered a double cheeseburger with extra pickles. After his order was placed and the lady running the drive-thru confirmed his order, he said through the speaker, "Hey, I mean it. I want extra pickles." Protocol means I give him another pickle or two from the normal amount of pickles. Yes, there's a protocol for this stuff. Not today, my pickle-loving friend. I pickled the crap out of this double cheeseburger. It was essentially like 3 full pickles with some burger around it. I grinned to myself as I wrapped up my pickle monstrosity and slid it down the tray to be picked up. I giggled, thinking how the guy would open his pickle burger and question my sanity, and I especially chuckled to myself about how, under Haley, the evil shift manager's watch, the store would be slightly pickle deficient. I fully 100% thought that was the end of it. Who comes back to the store because someone followed their order too correctly? The answer was this man. I was working on another order, say 5 minutes after the pickle burger was birthed, when I heard someone loudly ask for a manager. I peeked through the hole to the front to see a man holding my pickle masterpiece in his hand, and my stomach sank. I was certain this guy would like his pickle burger. Haley walks up front and asks what the problem is. He looks at her and opens the pickle burger. It was like Link holding the master sword. It was so beautiful, one could almost hear angels singing in the background, and I could swear the fluorescent lighting brightened above its splendor. The man looks at Haley and says, "This is what I mean. Finally, one of your guys makes a burger right. When a customer asks for extra pickles, this is what they want. I want you to tell your guys back there that they're doing a great job." And with that, Pickle Man bounds off to enjoy his lunch. Haley told me that was too many pickles and to stick to protocol. F you, Haley, I'll do what I want. And our next story. A former client refused to accept that I was no longer affiliated with my previous company. At my first job, which was an online directory and blog, we had a client who was entitled to a free limited-time premium listing. This included a short write-up about her business on our website, which would then be hidden/unpublished after her premium listing had expired, if she decided to not avail of the paid premium package. Basically, she was on a free trial. I was on the editorial team and first encountered her when I had to interview her for the write-up. My colleagues had advised me to be careful because she was rather irritable and rude, but I spoke to her in English. English is not the primary language in my country, and she was very nice to me. I wrote the article and everything was fine, until her premium listing expired. The account manager assigned to her updated her weekly on the status of her account and reminded her that the premium listing would soon expire. She yelled at my colleague on the phone, saying that a business as large and successful as hers, with celebrity clientele, should automatically have a premium account whether she paid for it or not. Then she refused to speak to anyone except the general manager or me, an editorial assistant. As our GM was in a meeting outside at the time, the sales manager, account manager, and I took the call over speakerphone in a conference room. As soon as they informed her that I was now in the call, her tone changed and she was suddenly polite. She asked if we could keep the write-up that I worked so hard on published on the site even though she would no longer be on the premium package. She then went on to say that surely someone with my educational background and who went to the same uni as she did would understand. I think this came up while we were making small talk during an event. I told her that it wasn't up to me to make the call as I was an editorial assistant, but that we'd be happy to keep the write-up published for another month if she decided to purchase the premium package for the next month. Taking my cue from the sales manager who was writing down some responses to help sell her the package, I then said something like that a successful entrepreneur like herself would understand that we needed to provide these premium services from that point for those with paid subscriptions. Finally, she agreed to pay for the next month to keep her account's premium status. I resigned shortly after that, for unrelated reasons. 2 to 3 months later, I received a phone call from this client. Side note, we were not issued company phones at my first job, so I used my personal number to contact clients for phone interviews, and the company would just reimburse. I was surprised because I contacted all the clients I'd worked with before I left to inform them about who would be handling their editorial needs upon my departure. She was complaining that her write-up had been taken down and that I had to do something about it. I informed her that I was no longer affiliated with the company, but that I would pass her concern along to my former colleagues. The call ended and I contacted my former colleague to let her know about that client's concern. Guess what? The client had not paid for the premium package in the last 2 months. Several months go by, and one Sunday I'm awakened at 4 a.m. by my phone ringing. It's her again, and this time she isn't at all polite. She was yelling at me saying I didn't republish her article and that her listing had gone back to basic, i.e. free status. She said that the company should be grateful to have her listed because she had celebrity clientele and she was a celebrity in the industry in her own right. She was infamous, not famous. I was done with her by now, so I repeated that I didn't work there anymore, and if she wanted a premium account, she should pay for it like everyone else. Then I said that if she contacted me again, I would sue her for harassment, and then I hung up. It was an empty threat, but she never contacted me again. Years later, I found out that she'd been blacklisted because she never paid for a year's worth of the premium listing. And our last story. The HOA wants to cut down our trees. So our house is on the main road in front of a subdivision, but not part of it. We have a mailbox while the subdivision has the multiple box thing in their gravel lot. The edge of our yard has trees and used to have a fence running along it. The fence was old, half falling over. Anyways, the HOA hired a company to clean up the trees around the subdivision. Well, my dad, who's a cop, woke up in the morning to the guys sitting on the fence cutting down our trees. And he basically asked them, WTF are you doing? Get off our property. HOA told the guys that the trees needed to be cut down and blah, blah, blah. He told them that if they came back, he would arrest them. Important fact, the state that I live in, the actual property line goes into half the roadway for tax purposes. The president used to be the principal at his school here and is an idiot because he tried to fine us for our yard, the fence, not having a fence around our propane tank, etc. Meanwhile, we're not a part of the HOA, and our house was built before the subdivision. Back to the whole tree thing, my dad actually went to the county and got a copy of the land plot and told him to go pound sand. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.